I'm going to show you this morning how I'm going to colour up this lovely new image from Little Darlings Rubber Stamps called Emma from the Saturated Canary range. I've also popped a sentiment from the Large Words sentiments range as well on the side. So I'm going to try and do this all in one go, so it should be a fairly quick one to colour this one. This is Tattered Rose, and I'm going to go in with the brush end around her face. I'm going to be using Pro Art Polar White nylon brushes. I've got a 00 and a 000, and I'm just using a bit of paper towel to wipe it off. It's printed on Langton hot press paper, which I find is the best for blending the inks out. So we'll just go around the face first. So I'm just picking out the areas which I would like to have the strongest colour. And because it's not actually a large area, I'm going to go for it all in one go. And just blend it down. And I don't want the ink to travel too far, because I like the image to have quite defined dark areas, so I just want the lightest areas to be almost white. There we go. So I'm going to go to the hair next, because I want the face to dry a little before I put the next layer of colour. So now I'm going to go with antique linen, and I'm not going to use the brush end, I'm going to use the fine point end, and I'm just going to highlight the areas which I think would be darkest. Obviously the light's going to be bouncing off the hair, so I'm just going to pick out the curls and just go around the head doing that. I'll put links at the bottom of this YouTube tutorial to all the products that I'm using, so you can find them. I think probably the most important thing I have found is getting the right paper, and the Langton hot press is a smooth finish, so you get quite a smooth finish as you blend it out. Normally I probably would take longer over something, but I'm going to see if I can get this to fit into one video for you, so you can see the whole thing from start to finish. Because actually this is quite an easy image to colour, because there's not that much to it. There we go, so now we've defined all of the areas there, and we've given her a bit of depth. Okay, so next I'm going to just finish off the skin tones. So I'm going to take Vintage Photo, and again I'm going to use the fine point for that. I'm just going to go in around the edges very gently. You want your touch to be very soft, because you want to just lightly touch it. If you press too hard, it's going to be difficult to blend it out. There we go. So all you're doing is creating just a little bit of shadow and giving the shape to the face. And I'm just dabbing my brush in and out of the water and picking up any excess colour that I don't want on the page. There we go. just blend those out a little bit because otherwise we'll end up with a line there. There. And I'll just pop it on her arms because I missed that. Drag the shadow up there. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so now, while we're leaving that to dry, I'll do another layer on the hair. I'm going to use Frayed Burlap, and I'm going to just use the ink pad because I find the pen has a slightly green tinge, which I don't really like on the hair, so I'm just going to pop the lid to get a little bit of colour in it. And then again, I'm going to go in and do the, whoops, wrong way around, the colour. And you'll notice that I don't actually blend anything on the hair. So the first layer of antique linen, I didn't blend, I just used the ink and placed it. And I'm going to do the same thing with the Frayed Burlap. Now because I'm using a brush, it'll look slightly softer, and we'll go over with another colour to pick it out. And it's just all about building up the layers. There we go. I'm going to try not to move her around too much because I know it'll be difficult to see, but I don't want to put my hand across the image as I'm colouring it. So I'm going to have to move it a little bit. If I lay my hand across the image where the damp ink is, I'll just spread ink all over the paper. Okay, I'm going to move that round so you can still see. Want to make it slightly darker behind her head because obviously it would be shadowed. Now I know a lot of people sometimes put a colour around the image before they start. I like to do it afterwards, after I've laid all of the different colours for the clothing and the skin tones, just because sometimes I change my mind about what colour that background would be. I just want to draw out some textures in there. I'll do for a layer. Just clean my brush off. And all I'm doing here is I'm just folding the paper over the top and spinning the brush round. I'm trying to keep it as reasonably together bristles wise, and just clean it off. Okay, so now I want to do some cheeks on her face and I found the quickest way to do that is to blend the colours of ink that I want to use on just a piece of acrylic or just a flat surface. So I'm going to take some aged mahogany and I'm just going to use the brush tip and pull it down on there a couple of times, and the same with the Tattered Rose. And then my brush, blend it all together. I'm just cleaning it off a little bit because I find otherwise I've picked up too much of the aged mahogany and actually it hasn't lightened it in any way. So I'll just clean it off a little bit. Okay. So then all I want to do now, too much water, is just gently draw the cheeks out. And I'll just do one at a time because I find that if you don't blend it very quickly and you allow it to dry too much, it sort of stains the paper and you can never really get a soft look to it. So I want to keep it very dark around the side of her face, so I'm just slowly blending and constantly cleaning the brush so I get the look I want. I'll just do the other side. Obviously it's going to be darkest around the sides and just under her eye. There we go. Looks a bit better. Too much water. I'm trying to avoid getting large dollops of water because they'll just drop onto your work and then you're left with a big splodge. Okay, so that'll do for now. I'm going to just dab a little bit on her lips. And I just want to draw a little bit under there. There we go, that'll do. So then I can just clean that brush off and move this out of the way. Okay, right, so while that's drying off, I can see that there's a couple of points here, I'll just point them out here, where the skin tone has sort of gone into the white of the eye. When it's completely dried out, I'll show you how I'll fix that or slightly improve it. But we'll crack onto the hair and we'll come back to that bit. Excuse me. So we're going to be going with Walnut stain, and again, fine point onto the hair, and there'll be no blending. It's just literally finding the points where I want to put the darkest bits. And that's all I'm going to do. I've found that if I blend the hair, particularly this kind of hair where you want to actually see almost strands, it just looks all sort of smooshy and too soft, and hair generally doesn't really look like that. So for me, I prefer it to have some lines in it. There we go, just around there. I'm just going to move it a bit because I can feel that I'm putting my hand on the wet ink, and that's how it ends up all over the page. There we go, that'll do. Dry enough? Yes, I think it. So we're going to do the clothing now. I'm going to be using Worn lipstick, and I'm going to use the fine point, and I'm just going to highlight out the areas where I think the darkest shadows would be on her clothes. So in the creases of this dress. As I want to show quite a dark shadow on the creases here, I'm not going to get too worried about blending it out very quickly and allowing the colour to sit there for a while. So I'll do the whole dress and then come in and just flick some of the colour out a little bit, and then go over it and define the areas. Just get that little bow at the back there. Okay, so let's just take a little bit of a damp brush and just take the edges out a little bit. I quite like this colour. It's not quite pink and it's not quite red, it's somewhere in between, so you can build up the colour on it. So that's taken out the worst of the dark edges. Okay, so I'll leave that to dry. I'm just going to sort out her eye here because I've just noticed that I missed that bit. So where it's the white is, there's a little bit of tattered rose gone in there, and it's taking the white away. So I'll just dab some water on and take the ink cap off it. That's better. She looked a bit blurry in the eyes. And it gives my dress a chance to dry a little bit. Okay, so back again with fine point. My stomach's rumbling. There, so I've gone into the creases of this dress and given it quite a dark shadow now. And as opposed to doing the face, I'm being quite firm with the pen, so that actually gets a distinctive bit in there. I'm just going to drag a little bit more colour into these whiter areas. Okay, oops, too much water, and I'll just pick it up with the brush and wipe it onto the paper. the last thing to do is just to do her eyes. And I'm going to use Faded Jeans. I'm just going to use the fine point and just do the edges of each eye. And then take the water and dab it all off so it's just a moist brush. And just dab. I don't really want to take the colour too far anywhere. Clean the brush off and just do the same again. Okay, so that's given me a little bit of colour, and I'll just darken the corners again. And there we have it. And there she's finished. I'll probably give her a colour around the outside of the image and tidy that up, but I haven't decided what paper I'm going to do with it yet, so I'll do that later. I hope that's helped. Thanks very much. Bye.